Okay, folks, so yes, I am in a sports bra. I'm not gonna, I don't mind. It is what it is. I used to live in yoga clothes for like years. So I wanted to give the latest and the greatest and updates on what's happening or what has transpired in my life in the last 24 hours. Because I think it's important. And I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet because my videos are like super long. And I feel like this is the only outlet that I have to kind of communicate with other people who are going through a situation similar as me. Number one, I want to reiterate that I try not to be someone who's like conspiracy theorist or, disseminating misinformation, whether it be about a natural occurrence in my life or a premeditated staged occurrence. However you want to, go about that, or conceptualize that, that's your business. For the individuals that want to sit there and discredit my situation or downplay it, there's a term in psychology called gaslighting. And if you're not familiar with that term, essentially what that is basically making someone doubt their perception, doubt their reality. Now, I like to say reality is in the eyes of the beholder. What does that mean? Meaning that we all perceive reality differently, right? Like my reality is not the same as yours. Point blank, period. There's a movie actually called The Truman Show. And if you haven't seen it, it's a really good commentary on kind of reality TV, if you will. It was, Jim Carrey was the lead protagonist in it. He did an excellent job in that movie. And I forgot how I think it came across my YouTube feed one day as a suggested thing. And I was like, I don't know what this is about. But basically, his whole life from when he was a baby to adulthood until 30-something, 34, 33 years old or 30 years old, was being almost televised, right? Like a reality TV show. And he ended up realizing that, later on, because things started to feel a little strange and off. I don't know where or when the light bulb went off that he started feeling like things were not as what it seems. And if you think about it, sometimes in reality, I'm gonna equate this back to spiritual awakening, because I did a video about this actually, like, when was this? Like recently, like 2 or 3 days ago. And I talked about how I'm going to use the phrase like human torture, that what I've been through for the past 6 years of my life, it did strengthen my resolve and my intuition. Like my intuition now, I mean, I'm not a great psychic. There's people, poor grammar. There are people who are much better at being able to communicate with the other side, and garner messages in that way. Some people see auras, some people see angels, some people are able to communicate with passed on loved ones. I have, passed forward, loved, whatever, spirits and whatnot. I have had encounters where I have seen like little orbs, because I believe that my take on the afterlife is this. I think it's like another dimension or another state of being or consciousness. Your physical body dies, but I think your soul is eternal. Now, I don't know how in quantum physics that works from a logistical standpoint. I don't know how, because, where's the flesh? How does the brain function? Like, all these questions that we have. But I do believe that our soul is eternal, and I don't know how much it weighs. I don't know. I don't know. You can almost say that maybe the soul is almost cosmic or celestial or extraterrestrial in a sense, because when you think about an extraterrestrial, something that's extraterrestrial, it's foreign to us, right? A UFO is something that's an unidentified foreign object. So the soul could essentially be just a transition between non-physical and physical. That's just my assertion. Like, that's what I think. It could be different from what you think, but I have been very sensitive to energy for like my entire life. It almost, to the sense, not like I'm on, like if I was on the spectrum or had autism kind of thing, but like, because I do believe that those kids that are on the spectrum, they are more susceptible to like how do I explain this well? When you're sensitive to energy, a regular person, when you have regular normal schmegular consciousness, right? People walk into a bar, they walk into a club, they walk into a place, they're not thinking about other people's thoughts, or not about them, but they just, it's almost like as if they were in their own world, in their own bubble, and they don't know, you know, that empathetic component, that empathetic piece, you know, where you can connect with another individual on a spiritual level, not just a physical one where it's like, hi, nice to meet you, you shake hands, oh, you. This is like, I don't know, when I meet someone, I feel their soul. I can know everything about someone before, like, and that's called claircognizance. So like I can feel their pain, I can feel their plight, I can feel their emotions, I can feel, I don't say feel their thoughts, that's a really far out thing to say, but I sincerely, I can. And for people that live double lives, or people that are putting up a facade, it's so easy to, what's the word? Not break down, but like see past the veil of illusion, you know? And that's what makes dating really hard, by the way. I don't know if I should make this a dating related thing or a spirituality, I don't know, or just a general vlog, but because I like keeping it to a topic or a themed thing, you know, it keeps my not really discussion, because I'm not talking, it's not a two-way thing, it's just you guys listening to what I'm saying, but I do like having a theme to go off of. But yeah, I've always been sensitive to stuff, but as of late, I will say that, you know, the gang stalking or torture and all that stuff, it did heighten my sense of awareness. And when I talk about the Truman Show thing, it's almost like, and you know the movie The Matrix, I never watched The Matrix in its entirety. I still don't know what it's about. I just know Keanu Reeves is in it. It was a super popular movie. I actually was scared of it when I first saw it, to be honest, because I was like, what is, you know, it was just weird with the little, they all wore like the coats and they had the little glasses on, and I'm like, this is weird. I don't know what this is about, you know? It just, you know, I liked happy movies, you know, growing up with like happiness and Disney movies, and you know, that was my thing. It just, and I know it's not like, oh, but you can't ignore the real world. I know that there's rape, incest, drugs, murder, prostitution, there's all these really horrible things. I get it. And you know, you can't have good without evil, you can't have light without darkness, you know, salt and pepper, you can't, they coexist together. I recognize that. It's called duality. It's polarity. And what a good meditation that helped me come to terms with that was, it's on Apple Music. It's by Sarah Blondin. She, if you haven't, I could put it in, I'm going to write it down so I don't forget. She, whatchamacallit, she's a healer, I guess, I don't know, or meditator, or a teacher, spiritual teacher, but she has a really good guided meditation, and she talked about how to deal with things, you know, that are hard when you're experiencing polarity and things that you would not otherwise want to experience. So, and how to deal with or cope with things that are hard, that are unexpected, you know, because there's a way to go about that without being reactive, you know, and I'm learning that, because it's so easy when you're targeted and stuff, it's so easy to get triggered, because people can be so mean. They could be so mean, you know, like there's scammers, there's hackers, there's liars, there's con artists, there's cheaters, and then when you have a target on your back and you're one of the good ones, right, when you do the right thing, you know, going back to the whole Truman Show thing, you start to see the subtle nuances or the incongruencies in life, and you start to see kind of these patterns of behavior in people, and when your way of being and way of life differs or is distinct from how other people do that, because the norm in society is what? We have a 9-to-5 job. And if you love that job, great, that's awesome. But you have a 9-to-5 job, you clock in, you clock out, and you go home. And, are we focusing on self-betterment? Are we focusing on building our character, building our self-awareness, emotional intelligence, things like that? Or are we just sitting complacent and sitting idle and never having any forward progression in our character development, in our soul's growth? I am a person I've always been finely attuned to wanting to figure out ways to expand my consciousness, right? Become a better person. Figure out how I can lead a virtuous lifestyle. That has always been my MO, my goal. And I realized that perception shifts in belief systems, political ideologies, religious ideologies, as you grow older and you start to separate yourself from your family, even from society itself, because in society we're constantly being bombarded with information. Whether that information is valid or not, that's up to you. Because as consumers, we want to be well-informed consumers and fact-check stuff before we go about saying, hey, this is this and this is this. Because there's so much information on the internet. There's so much. And I don't claim to know it all. I am not the expert on gang stalking. I'm not the expert on targeting. All I know is that it's not done from a place of love and compassion. And my next point is going to bring me to, last night, and you can discredit me all you want, and you can say, oh, Ashley, you probably had a panic attack or an asthma attack. You can have underlying issues that you don't know about, or, autonomic, central nervous system, neurological things. I get that, and I could, or I also could be experiencing what I feel in my gut is going on, and that could be what feels like a murder plot or assassination attempt against my life. And what I was going to say is I went downstairs I forgot where I was. I went somewhere to go get water at the store nearby. And then I had my jacket on. I put, and this is why I say targeted people are the ones who truly understand what's going on, because other people don't get this. Because it seems so, not infallible, but incomprehensible. Sorry, unfathomable. That's the correct word, not infallible. Infallible means something that can be, that can't be discredited or can't be disproved. Sorry, wrong use of words, bad semantics. And unfathomable, meaning incomprehensible. Because who's going to sit there and go, okay, so why would someone sit there and target you, and put gases and stuff in your space? Why would someone do that? Hey, I have the same question. I've been asking this for 6 years now. I've been asking this for 6 damn years. I curse like a sailor, which I probably shouldn't do, but I do. And last night I went to my bed and I got on my knees and I said, please God, help me forgive these people. I said with all my might, I said, please God, help me to forgive these people, because what's going on now is, I came back from the store, and then I don't know how it's possible. I don't know how. But I feel like there's a bad group of people who are targeting me specifically. I don't know why. I have my theories. I have my assumptions. It's just connecting that to real world facts, because I'm not a police officer. I don't have the technology to be able to wiretap someone's phone. I know that's a thing in the law enforcement world where they, I was so stupid when I heard first the word wire, when you wiretap someone, it's I literally thought you get a wire and I was like, but how does that work? Do you get a wire and connect it to their phone, or is it Bluetooth? I don't know how it works. I think it just means that someone puts spyware, or they listen to people's phone calls and stuff. So anyways, besides the point, I went to CVS, and then I left CVS, and I decided, hey, let me go into my mail room. It's a small room to get my mail. And because of the weird stuff that I've been experiencing, I propped the door open with a little thingy, a door stopper. Immediately upon entering, I was like, something's not right. It smelled really very, very strong chemical smell. And I was like, I don't know what this is. It didn't smell sweet because I know, I know cyanogen gas, which is cyanide gas, that can kill instantly upon, I mean, it's supposed to, allegedly, I don't know. I'm not a scientist or chemist, but it was very powerful, potent chemical smell. And there's a little window, like, you know, when you go to a box office for a theater, there's that little window in the will call when you go and get your tickets. There's like that and like a little plexiglass thing where you can talk to the concierge. She was not there. She hasn't been here for like weeks. I don't know. I hope she's okay. I don't know what's going on. But so I was looking for my mail, and I found packages that I had, not PR, because I'm not a brand ambassador, you know, I'm not that big of a brand ambassador yet or anything like that. I'm trying to get into that, you know, just as something, like as a side gig, because I'm, you know, when you're in Bikini Bottom, it's kind of hard to, you know, and then keep your spirits elevated while going through this stuff, because I literally have a choice to make where I go either in, because I will be honest, and I'm not trying to put down this apartment building. If you look at it, it has pretty good reviews. I'm not gonna, and this is why I tell myself I do genuinely have a good heart, because any other person that had a poor experience would blame the landlord. They'd say, oh, this thing is shitty, everyone's horrible. I'm not gonna generalize my experience to the entirety of the population of this, I was gonna say edificio in Spanish, because that's not fair. Because other people have a different experience than me. So I'm not going to sit there and generalize it, because that's not fair, right? What my reality is different from someone else's. I do feel it. I mean, I'm having my own personal experience. Now, how someone would be able to time it and rig that in a way where they know exactly, that means that someone could have eyes on me all the time. And that's daunting. That's very scary. And I met the landlord, and he's a very amicable, pleasant human being, from what I know. But you know, you don't know people, you don't know what's going on in their life, you know, you don't know ulterior motives or things like that. But this building got great reviews. It's called a second chance apartment. It did not say low income, but it's not the Ritz, you know. It's a lower income, I guess. I mean, it's affordable, but you're not really that affordable actually, because it's right in the heart of downtown. And I've learned I am not a city girl at all. After being like, I listened to this song, what's that song? The Girl. I'm like obsessed with that song because it's so, and I don't know where there's line dancing in Chicago. I don't think there is, maybe. But it's the one she's like, no, not the excuse me, you look like you love me. Not that one. It's the, she's from Texas, I can tell by the way she's two-step around the room. That one. And anyways, but I've been more akin to listening to country music. I don't know, I listen to everything. I don't discriminate. I listen to like gospel, I listen to classic rock, Aerosmith. It depends on my mood. If I want to listen to pop, Taylor Swift, Olivia Rodrigo, then I'll go to like ratchet rap. You know, it depends. It really does vary. But anyways, I've been lately, I wish I would give anything to be like in a vast expanse of land with rolling hills, and I don't say like Tennessee or something, but like and the thing is, the only thing is though, I would feel like a fish out of water, because I don't know anything about those places, and I don't even have the funds, the availability. But it's so, you know, when you like, I don't know if other people experience this, when you feel like your soul is bigger than your body and you just feel compelled and called to a specific location. That's, now I realize too, some people do what they call love spells, which sounds weird, but they do like, or they try to get someone to go to a specific location by shifting them, you know. So I don't know, like it's so hard because I want to do what the right thing is by my parents and my family. I want to be the good daughter because I've always done that. Every single decision I made in concert with what my parents would want me to do. And I'm 34 years old at this point, and I don't want to let my family down, but at the same time, I really, even though I do have a roof over my head, and they were very much wholly in part responsible for getting me to have that, and they remind me of that every day now, but I tell them, hey, I'm going through a really scary experience, and I know it's really hard to prove, because I can't grab a bunch of cyanogen gas or benzene gas or mercury, whatever the fuck it is, excuse my language, and get it together and send it to a lab. You know, I can't do that. I don't have the instruments, you know, like, what was that, the Texas Science Instruments, I think it's called, or something, I think, right? Texas Instruments, that famous company that does the calculators, the scientific calculators. I don't have those things. So, and I don't know if that's what it is, but whatever it is, I know that I feel like I'm being put in harm's way, and it could be nearly fatal for me. And I say that because last night I went to the mailroom, and it was a very strange smell in there. And this is the second time now that this has occurred. No, I've had weird gases before, but like, I'm talking ones that really take my breath away, that I almost feel like I can't breathe. And I know, trust me, to the people, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna play devil's advocate, but I get you. I hear you. I 100% agree. Yeah, it's very plausible and possible that it could be panic attack, but I was getting mail. I was not anxious. I was just coming back from CVS. I went through the door. It's a gated community where basically you do the little thingy with the app and it opens the door for you. And I went in absentmindedly thinking nothing of it. I was like, I do get scared. I will be honest. I'm like, can I touch this door handle? Can I go in this room? And, it's, I did see I don't want to judge people. I don't want to judge people, but I did see the guy that was in there with me. He was dressed in all black, like literally head to toe all black. And he had this bulky thing in his arm that he had this belt that was very noticeable and very prominent. And it was decked out and adorned with little black rhinestones. And it was a huge skull and it had bones behind it. And I was like, that's really sus. I was like, that's kind of questionable. It was weird. And he was very much hovering and lingering around me. And I was just like, something told me that and he had little earrings, like little things in his ear. It just didn't, and I don't like to judge people like that. I don't want to be like, oh, he's a gang member. And like, I don't like to do that. That's discrimination. And it's funny because some of the nicest people are the people who've had the hardest life, or they've recovered, or people that maybe were incarcerated at one point and then they turned over a new leaf because they found God, or they found purpose or meaning in their life. Like there was a job actually on LinkedIn for the Bureau of Prisons where you can be a counselor or sort of form of respite or a resource for these people who go and they get incarcerated, and not that I can't do that because I don't have the licensing for that. I mean, in another life I probably would have, because that seems right up my alley to do. Because I don't want to discriminate. And if you look at it, I'm not Christ, but when you look at the story of Christ, he was with the lepers, the beggars. They thought Mary Magdalene was a prostitute. He's been with everyone, tax collectors. Those were his friends. Like literally, he associated himself with what people would construe as the worst of the worst. He wasn't with the socialites. He wasn't with his buddies, out in the fields and whatever. He was with the worst. He chose the people that he felt God needed to use as a conduit to teach the message and the word of God. So I find that interesting. But for me, when I feel energy, I was like, something's not right here. And I felt off. And then I came back up to the apartment and I could not breathe. Like I have my little pulse ox. I have it here, and I use it, and my O2 was okay. But when you experience respiratory distress, usually the signs and symptoms are, you would start to feel like, because what happens is your body goes into, I said this before, your body goes into acidosis, because when you're alkaline, like pH level, that means that you have your body's in a state of equilibrium. So you have enough nutrients, you have enough oxygen coursing through your blood and your veins, and there's a certain amount, when you talk about hemoglobin, and to the technicalities of it, hemoglobin, that, and platelets, that's what helps transport oxygen to blood, RBCs, red blood cells, what have you. But when you're in acidosis, there's an unequal exchange. There's more CO2 in your body than O2. So what happens is that exchange in your lungs, it essentially causes cell death or apoptosis, so you're unable to breathe. And that's why when people feel like in the Holocaust, when people were put in the gas chambers, they were suffocated to death because there was not enough oxygen. That's what's supposed to happen, is that, but so if you ever, by the way, if you're targeted and you feel like you are lacking oxygen or air, immediately find somewhere to get open air, immediately. Because I think that's what it was happening to me. And I can't prove, I know I can't prove it. I couldn't bring like a little air quality meter. And I guarantee you, if I told the landlord, I did mention to him once, I said, hey, there was a strange incident when I took the trash downstairs, but that's the trash room, that's different. That's actual smells and stuff. But my conundrum right now is I don't feel safe in this building. And when I came back up to my apartment, I was having trouble breathing. I was having a lot of trouble breathing, and I was like, I mean, it was hard to get a breath in, and I had to control myself, and I had to say, Ashley, if you let fear overtake you, you're gonna, you'll die. But what's weird is my oxygen was okay on my thing, thank God. It did get lowered to like 96, but that gas exchange in your bronchioles and your bronchial tree and your alveoli, the little alveolar sacs, that could, depending on how long you're exposed to whatever it is, that'll have a direct effect on a correlation on the rate of exchange and perfusion and, how fast everything will occur. And unbeknownst to me, I don't have any spectacular like blood type. I did a blood test from Amazon, and I did a blood test from Quest, and I have A positive. I don't think I have like the RH negative, like the special thing that with like any disease you can overcome it. I mean, I don't know. To the best of my knowledge, I don't know. All I know is that I am nervous to stay in my building, and I feel like people are taking very, 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 very calculated, strategic, lethal, nearly fatal risks and putting my life in harm's way. And I don't know where the cops are. I don't know. I've written FBI 3 times. I applied to be an FBI agent at one point. I was very proud, and I don't want to cry about it. I was very proud because I felt like that was going to be my salvation at one point, because I was like, I'm going to get, the training, and I'm going to feel confident in myself that I can handle this. And I'm sorry to cry. It's just frustrating, because I don't know who to trust. I don't know who to trust. And I know all the people out there who are like, fuck the government. The government's the ones responsible. They're the ones doing it, etc., etc., etc. I get that. And you can hold a chip on your shoulder or have beef with whoever you want. That's up to you. That's your prerogative. We're all entitled to our own beliefs. I would find it very hard to believe that the government would find any sort of benefit from specifically targeting other individuals. You know what I mean? Like what good does that? Maybe there's a spiritual component, but I feel like there's so many other facets. You have the executive branch, you have the judicial branch, you have the legislative branch. That's it. I don't know politics. I know like the basic core tenets of the foundation of it, but I don't really know. I don't know AP history. I don't, the Mexican-American War, the Civil War. Like I know that, the American Revolution, Boston Tea Party, all that stuff. I can't speak well to it, but I have a basic rudimentary understanding of it. But my point is that I don't know what they would get out of targeting gifted people, like I say, chosen people. It doesn't make sense to me, It doesn't make sense to me. I try to make it make sense. That's why I use one of the hashtags, help me make it make sense. Because it doesn't make sense to me. And I don't want to sit there and be like, oh, fuck the government. I'm not an anarchist. I'm not an anarchist. I'm not a political dissident either. I believe in giving people chances. I believe in listening to, even when people have a difference of opinion other than your own. You know, politically, right? I feel like there's such a political divide. We're at heads with each other. You know, Democrats hate Republicans. Like, I do surveys every day to make some extra money, right? And it's been very helpful, by the way. Shout out to SurveySpin, whoever created that app. Thank God for you. God bless your soul. May God, or if you don't believe in God, hopefully I bring good tidings to you and blessings so that you can, you know, because it's been very helpful for me to get groceries and things like that. Even though, be careful, because when you do some of the surveys, if you do them too fast, because I answer authentically and honestly, because some of the answers I don't know, and I'm like, I don't know this person. Because when they ask stuff about politics, I'm like, I don't know who this person is. I don't know these people. So I'm like, don't know, not sure, don't know. I literally don't know. But SurveySpin has been really helpful, and all those survey apps, because I've been able to acquire some, not a lot. You're not going to get like $50 out of it, but you'll get $5, $3, and hey, that's water, beverage, that's a meal somewhere. Hopefully not cigarettes for you people. Smoking is bad. Smoking and drugs are bad. Don't do them. For me, I lost my train of thought. Political devices. That's something, like, you know, politics is such a touchy subject. And this is coming from someone who, I grew up in a household where, we never really talked about it. I was just given a ballot and like told to fill it out and whatnot. But we would go out with some family friends and they had a differing opinion from us. But my father and the other extended family member, would debate about it civilly. And we always, at the end of the day, we would, you know, and we ended up hugging after, and they were probably the most prominent figures in my life to this day. These two women who were basically, I consider them like, you know, extended family, and my own tias, you know, or abuelas. One was a little bit older, I think. So, and they had differences of opinion in terms of politics, but I loved them dearly, and I hugged them tight, and I didn't hold any animosity towards them. And I wish we could become a more perfect union, or civil union, even in that respect, because, like, I don't know, it's just like, it's frustrating, you know. And I don't know what the state of affairs of, because I don't work in government, and I'm not one to comment on it. I don't know the direction the economy is going. I don't know. And this is something else, like, I don't know why anyone would sit there and try to harm me, because putting a gas that could knock someone out, that is synonymous with trafficking. I mean, I had a police officer tell me that 3 years ago. And he drove my friend and I from, you know, in Pennsylvania when we went to New York for a Broadway show. The guy said, you know, when someone puts spyware on your phone, that could be trafficking. And then I have family members tell me, oh, that's not true. He was just saying that to say it. And I'm like, the guy had his own security company, or has it. Why would the guy just make that up out of thin air and tell that to someone who's already been through a hell ton of trauma? So I wanted to share that because I think it bears relevance. It's important. Like, I feel like I have a target on my back. And I'm such a firm believer in hope. I'm such a firm believer that anything you put your mind to, you can achieve. But at the same time, you can get scammed. Like, I literally was a victim just now to a scam where I applied to a job that I thought, but I will say this, I was 50-50 about it, because I didn't have, and I don't know if this was a targeting ploy or an attempt to ruin my spirit and whatever, but please be mindful, because scammers are out in full force. And I literally was offered a position, but I didn't do a virtual, it was all via, you know, typing and sending screening assessment answers and stuff. And something told me, I was like, is this legitimate? I Googled the lady. She seemed legitimate. I should have called her from the beginning, though, to ask her. And then after Googling it, after accepting the position, she says, oh, I'm going to give you a check for $5,000 and deposit it immediately. So I did. And then she says that's going to help cover the cost of expenses for the computer equipment. I go, okay. And I found that a little bit sus and strange, because it was it was actually, I have it right here. She told me to like print, it's, you know, so I thought that a little bit odd, but I did. And and then I later find out, I go on Google and I go to the Facebook page and it says, oh, they're closing their doors in June. And I was like, so I emailed the lady and I called them and I go, hi, it's just so you know, this isn't happening. So, you know, scammers are out in full force, people. You know, it could have been a targeting thing for all I know. It could have been a targeting thing. Am I upset about it? No, I just, you know, it's a lesson. It's a lesson to learn. Be careful. You know, was it cross your T's and dot your I's? Oh my God, I just realized TI. Cross your T's. You know, the phrase was this, when you want to be diligent in your proofreading, cross your T's and dot your I's. But yeah, it is very frustrating. Like, my world and my reality is not the same as somebody else's, and I really hate talking about this. I really do. And it's frustrating because I want to do the right thing, and I feel like there's family members or things that are trying to keep me stifled or have kind of a chokehold or death grip on my life. And I go, what is the right thing to do? Because I don't have, if I stay here, I'll be honest, I don't feel safe in Chicago. Chicago is notorious for being kind of a crime-ridden town. It's known for that, like how Philly was. Even though Philly felt a little different, but so it's just it's frustrating, especially for someone. I'm very straight-laced, I'm very honest to a fault, and then to be mistreated and tricked and duped repetitively. It's almost like people want to whittle someone down so badly and treat them so horribly that they take themselves out. Like, I'm not kidding. That's what it feels like. I'm not a detective, I'm not a police officer. I tell myself maybe I'm like God's police. You know, like Charlie's Angels, God's Angels. Charlie's Angels, you know, like the old 1970s show, and then they did a remake of it with Kristen Stewart and someone else and whatnot. But I try not to stir the pot. I try not to ruffle feathers, make waves, but it's just, it's not fair. And then to try to prove it, it's futile. It's absolutely futile. So, again, if anyone has any insight at all, and I know there was one person, I don't know if they're a guy or a girl, and they comment on my thing and they're like, you need to go to a hospital. Listen, bro, you don't know who you're talking. I'm a yogi, bro. And I call it my 2-pack, and I gain weight. I know I look skinny, but I have a 2-pack, 2-pack. It's my, right here, it's my, you know, so I'm trying to get meat on my bones, you know, and doing the best that I can. Is it easy? No. It's scary because I do feel like my food gets poisoned, and if you say, okay, then don't order food takeout, then get it yourself, you know, in a store. To say that someone would rig every single store is pretty Twilight Zone-ish, but, you know, I don't know if my existence is a disturbance for people. You know, I would say that I think when you carry a mission on your heart and you carry a light of God, or you become a threat to people who aren't the people who operate from a place of love and light. You know how much easier it would be to be someone who is a bitch? You know how much easier it would be to judge everybody and be selfish, take a more, you know, self-serving, hedonistic approach to life? You know how easy it would be to be a player and talk to a bunch of, and I'm talking like, where's my phone? Where's my phone? Where's my phone? Did it drop on the floor? Oh my God, it's so much. I'm recording on the phone. I'm like, where's my phone? And I'm recording on it. It's weird. Anyways, like I'm doing the dating apps, right? I just did a video on dating as a targeted person. I talked to a bunch of people. 4 of the guys went MIA. 2 of them talk consistently. Maybe out of those 2 or 3 that talk consistently, maybe 1 of them is, or 2 of them have good intentions, because the other ones could be hitmen. The other ones could be perps. So, that's why I say it's not a problem to talk to multiple people, because I guarantee you more often than not, 2, 3, or 4 or 5 of those people will fall to the wayside, because that's life, because they're talking to other people, because they're trying to sift and sort through things. But you know how much easier it would be to be some Machiavellian, maniacal bitch. I don't have it within me to do that, because that's not my nature at all. But I could if I wanted to. Choosing how you want to live your life is so instrumental. Because the moment you wake up, because you know how much shit I've gone through. I mean, we all go through so much shit. But I was typing it out to my dad. I go, my intuition, a woman's intuition is so on point. That's why, let me tell you, if you're a husband and you're watching my thing, or if you're a spouse and you're married, let me tell you, you never want to fuck with your wife, bro. You never want to fuck, because that woman, whether they're gay, straight, whatever, not even just feminine wives, male wives, if you're in a same-sex thing, never underestimate a woman's instinct. It's there for a reason. And energy never lies. People do. And my instinct tells me that I have walked into clouds of cyanogenic gas, possibly mercury, neurotoxins. I've ingested neurotoxins, either bee venom or some other apitoxin. I've ingested, I think, lead, mercury, thallium. What else? Lithium. I know I've been drugged with fentanyl. Let's do this. And I don't know any drug dealers on speed dial, by the way, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go here because this is important for people to see. I'm not gonna post about it unless I might have deleted it already. I think I deleted it. I put it in the weird file folder. I have a file folder on my computer that says weird stuff, so maybe I'm not meant to show it. But there was a night where I ate some takeout food and I felt so. My breathing was so shallow, and it was like very labored, and I just felt very disoriented. And I said, I knew something was off. And I recorded myself, and I go, God, and I felt like my eyes were like glazed over. I was like this, like, that's how I looked. I was like that a lot. And I looked over at Bonnie and I go, I hope she's okay, because she ate some of what I had. And that's when I tested positive. I think it was, God forbid it was fentanyl or heroin. I don't know. But I have experienced that. And drugs to me have always been that one thing that I've been so against. I'm not against psychedelics for the use of to treat depression and anxiety, because sometimes people have such bad PTSD, like me. Like I've come a very long way in dealing with CPTSD, because it gets stored in your body. The trauma gets stored. So I've grown leaps and bounds in respect to that, and I'm grateful for that. But to be drugged against your own will, that's assault, and I can't prove it. And I don't treat this like a game, I don't treat this like a let's see how smart Ashley can figure it out. Let's see if she can overcome this, adverse, that's not a game to me. This is my life. I became destitute because of this. And that's what people don't understand. And then trying to explain it to a police officer, if they're crooked, if they're in on it or corrupt, they'll go, yeah, I think you need psychiatric help. You need to be admitted to. I am so afraid to be, let me tell you, I am so afraid to be like, because if they God, imagine people doing this now. Imagine people that are crooked. They could put toxins in my body. They could kill me. I'm afraid to, you know those IV infusions where they get electrolytes? I'm afraid to do that. I'm afraid to buy medicine in a store. So when someone says, you know, respectfully, whoever you are, when you want to say, oh, you need to go to a hospital, bitch, I don't want to say bitch. I am a hospital. I worked in a hospital. I want to say God is my hospital. But I have been through hell. I've been wrongfully, I think, lied about, maybe even framed. I don't even know. All I know is that I don't hold any animosity, you know, towards the government, or I don't want to go down conspiracy theory lane, because that's not my thing. I do go by facts, though. I do go by, like, if there's a lot of literature or a lot of movement and progression talking about a specific topic, and you have enough people who are all speaking about the same thing, then I think that there's some credibility there in terms of, okay, if we're all talking about this weird phenomena where we're experiencing this, and this, and this, then it's safe to say that then there's something very weird and shady going on. And the other thing is, I want to, I don't know how, I feel like I wish I had like one of those microphones, you know, like the people who do podcasts and they put a little microphone. I wish that like I could have one of those, because it's a little bit just, because I would like to, you know, create this circle of discussion and a safe space for people to openly communicate their feelings about this kind of situation. I realized I missed Spiritual Sunday. I was supposed to do my Spiritual Sunday reading. Maybe I can do, I don't know. Should I do Spiritual Sunday? Maybe, you know what, let's do that. Let's leave the Spiritual Sunday in there. Let's do that. I just need my cards. I don't want to use the Kipper deck. Maybe, I don't know, should I use the Kipper deck? I don't want to use the Kipper deck. Just because I don't know. Because this is like, so in Oracle card world and, you know, card reading world, the Kipper deck has always been considered kind of like this like mystery solving deck. And I just don't want to, I personally don't think, in my opinion, when I say stay in your lane, you don't want to research things that are not your business. I mean, okay, so now here's, like, on my own personal time, I have done the card thing where I'm like, okay, God, what do I need to know? Why do I feel like this isn't happening? The weird stuff, you know, give me insight, whatever. Spirit, give me clarity. I won't publicize that, because that's my like, I just won't do that, because, and also too, if I have people that are the ops or the bad people watching, they're going to be like, oh, she knows what we're up to. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's predictive, you know, it's predictive stuff, you know. So, and I'm very big on trying to promote, there's so much negativity in the world. I'm big on promoting positivity, about empowering people. Like when I was a child life specialist, the whole goal of a child life specialist is to help empower children to master their coping skills as it relates to hospitalization, because there's a lot of different aspects of the hospital experience that are very frightening and could be very traumatizing, and could later have a negative long-term impact psychologically on a child and emotionally. So I was very big on empowerment, advocacy, motivation, emotional support. That's kind of my wheelhouse. So, you know, so I don't really like to do the whole crime hour. I know that's some people's niche, and I get it. And if you've been doing well with your channel because of that, then more power to you. But I could do card readings. I could out a bunch of people, you know, like right now, the community card came out and it says community. I don't know what it's going to say next. But I could do that, but I just don't feel inclined to do so because it's just like, hold on, I just got a text message. No, poverty, so important. So, yeah, see, that's not bad stuff, but still, I don't feel inclined to do that. So I will go grab another deck. Maybe I'll do that. I'll call it Spiritual Sunday with a little bit of updates added in, vlog time, which I know if you're looking for a reading and you're like, well, why are you 50 minutes in? I'm giving insight to my situation because I think it's important. And I don't want to die because of this. Because if people go, oh, that she died because she didn't eat enough food or she's malnourished. Nope. I mean, maybe, yeah. If you don't eat enough nutrients, you don't drink enough water, you're going to get dehydrated. So then you're going to lack electrolytes. But I'm scared to get electrolytes because you know how some of those electrolytes are powders? I'm scared that that powder can have something in it and be tampered with. And that's the last thing that I need. And also the latest and the greatest is my father wants me to rehome my dog that I love so much, that he knows is like everything to me. And I'm like, well, why do you want me to do that? Is it because you don't want her to go through stuff? Because that's deemed animal cruelty. But when it's done on a human, it's not deemed a human rights violation. Strange. Anyways, I am going to grab the other deck and then, I don't know if I should call this, maybe I'll just do a vlog update because I don't want it to coincide with, I don't want to taint a reading that's a guided reading, you know, because if it's meant for somebody, I don't want to mix that together, you know. And see, this is, energy doesn't lie. I mean, I'm not a child, but for some reason I do carry like childlike innocence or purity, I like to say, and it says toil and labor, and I am very much experienced in toil and labor. So energy doesn't lie, folks. People do. People lie. So, anyhow. I'm going to grab my deck and I'm going to do the Spiritual Sunday thing because I want to stay consistent. Even if people don't watch it, I think it's good to do because it is a part of my life, you know. I genuinely enjoy helping other people and, you know, being gifted and whatnot. I feel very blessed for that. It's a gift and a curse because the people that are like criminalistic and stuff could see that as a threat, and people that are not criminals would see that as a benefit or an asset. So, you know, so yeah, at least I will say this, for that job that I applied to, that was a scam thing, at least I got to practice my writing skills and my administrative skills, you know, so it's not all a waste because I got to learn. I told myself, I go, now I need to make sure that I proofread my emails because you never want to have grammatical or, you know, misspellings. So I learned that after writing and composing the emails. So I'm going to grab my other deck and then I'm going to post this in a little bit. But thank you for watching my videos. And if you are praying for me, I am very, very, very much grateful for that. I appreciate that. Sometimes prayer is more powerful than most things because you're sending pure positive light and love and energy to another human being, and I do believe that supernatural forces in favor can help uplift someone and help them move forward on their journey, whereas for other people that may not happen as much. So thank you so much. If you are praying for me, I am grateful for that. And it's scary. I am scared because I feel like my human rights are being violated over and over again. And, you know, I have a father, unfortunately, and I hope he found out about my YouTube channel. So Dad, if you are watching. Maybe if you watch my videos, or if you watch other videos of other targeted individuals' videos, you'd understand what I'm going through. It would make a little bit more sense so you can make that connection. But I have a father telling me that I'm not going to get any help ever. I'm not going to get closure. I'm not going to get any legal aid or, justice. Because he keeps telling me, you want justice. And he keeps saying, yeah, but did you die though? And I'm like, bro, do you understand what I'm telling you, that I don't feel safe? Do you understand that I know it sounds crazy, but I walked into like a pool of gas and it nearly almost took my breath away, that I've touched mail and I almost fainted. Like, does he not get that? Or I've eaten foods and I've thrown up numerous times, not food poisoning, like where I started to sweat profusely, I got cramps in my stomach and I threw up repetitive, like, no. This is a serious matter. And if you say, okay, then report it to the police, I hate to tell you, some of the police don't give a shit. If you're not physically harmed, like if you're not physically assaulted, they don't care. Because all the symptoms that a targeted person goes through is very much aligned with anxiety and panic attacks. And psychosis, but I'm not psychotic or neurotic or schizophrenic. So when is it going to stop? Is it going to ever stop? And why do I feel like people are withholding information from me that's very pertinent and relevant, that needs to get to me, but they don't want to disclose that to me? And energy ebbs and flows. Energy shifts every single day. So, yeah. How is this all going to turn out? I don't know, because I sincerely feel like there are bad people because no one goes around playing games like cat and mouse with someone, right? No one goes around and says, hey, let me torture this young woman and make everyone turn against her, or make her think all these illusions and things, and try to make and instill fear in her so that she doesn't want to move forward and progress with her life and extinguish her hope, and then put her life in danger and expose her to just, maybe not enough to kill her, but just enough to kind of scare her. No regular schmegular human being does that. I'm sorry. They don't do that. I'm not doing that. I'm not sitting there going, oh, I want to ruin someone else's life. I don't wake up in the morning, ooh, like an evil, maniacal, Dr. Evil from Austin Powers. I don't go, ooh, let me figure out how to fuck up someone's life today because that's going to make me so happy. I want to go volunteer at Laurie Children's to give the kids board games and do activities with them. I want to bake cookie. I had an idea when I was thinking of like businesses, and I was like, how am I going to generate income from that? That's more of like if I was married and I was a mom and I could do that on the side as like a not-for-profit. I wanted to do an activity. There was two ideas I had. I had this idea of doing like a baking workshop for kids in the hospital, going through cancer or something, where we do like, and the activity coordinators for Child Life can do this, but I wanted to like do an activity where the kids can make cupcakes from scratch. Like I would do the cupcakes, the base of the cupcake, and then they would do the icing, and then they would, decorate it however they want to, and something, or like bake cookies, or I don't know, some baking activity for kids. And then I wanted to do also an activity about growth and taking care of things, and how, some things, you want to come to fruition immediately but don't. So I wanted to teach that lesson through like plant stuff, like from gardening, where they would get like a sunflower and like with the seeds, and then they'd put it on the windowsill of their room, and then I would have like a hospital liaison or a child life specialist like go in there and do an intervention where they talk about the growth of the sunflower, and they put it out in the sun, and I don't know, I had all these ideas, and that's what I focus on. I don't focus on how can I get revenge or retribution on people that want to hurt me. I have no desire to do that. Zero. Yet I'm being treated like mistreated and abused. if you happen to know, I mean, by chance, if you're in Miami and you come across my page, I get it. I get it. It's hard to, I feel like there's information that I'm not being told. Like, I feel like there's a message that needs to get to me that's not getting to me, that's being intercepted, or someone's trying to block it, you know? And from literally, like, from, oh my God, how funny. I was doing the Kipper deck, and this card came out and it fell on the floor. Usually when something falls on the floor, that means it's like a super important message that needs to get to you, and this card came out. Family room. See, and it says great fortune. This is what I don't understand. I don't understand this. I've never been told anything about great fortune or wealth. And it says distant horizons, high honor. Distant horizons, like the future, high honor. Like having honor, valor, bravery, triumph, all that stuff. And then it says a thief going to court. Oh look, it says thief, courthouse, adjudication. So someone tried to steal something. And I don't know if that's true, but that's what it says. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But I'm trying to figure out the best course of action. And if you are someone who happens to be watching, and maybe if, I did a hashtag law enforcement on there, and law and order and law and whatever crime. If you are someone that's in that world and you know, or you have information, please put yourself in my shoes. I have lost everything, okay? I have lost everything. Everything. I'm on a phone, reaching out to people, strangers that I don't know, sharing my story. I've lost my stock. I had Apple stock over like $20,000, I think it was, or maybe it was 13. I don't know how much it was. I sold the stock a year ago, and that's what I was using to help pay off my bills. I acquired a lot of debt, and I'm saying some very personal stuff, but it's important because this needs to be addressed, because I had a normal life. I had everything in my life going for me. Everything. I was a healthcare professional. I was working alongside some of the best and brightest people. I was working alongside some of the best and brightest people, the best neurologists, the smartest residents in Miami, in Philadelphia, the cardiothoracic surgeons, the craniofacial, maxillofacial surgeons. I mean, I witnessed, when I did my child life internship, I witnessed open heart surgery. They were doing the Fontan procedure where they were putting the aortic valve replacement on a 4-year-old with tetralogy of Fallot, which, if you don't know that, there's 4 components to that. I think it's like HLH, hypoplastic left heart syndrome. There's is there something with the mitral valve? I don't remember. There's 4 different things, and it's in sequential order of like different procedures that a child needs in order to fix their heart. But I witnessed that, literally open heart surgery, as a child life intern. It was the coolest thing ever. His name was Dr. Burke. He was the best. I think he retired, and he was the most down to earth doctor too in Miami. He drove like a Toyota Prius. And I was so grateful for, I was like a kid in a candy store. Like how people love money, I love research, and I love education. And I was robbed of that. And I know you can say, oh, you can get it back. But these people who are criminals, because they are, it is criminalistic behavior to do this to someone. I've walked into hospitals and places, like service rest stops, bathrooms, and I've sensed weird gases, and I almost got knocked out and sedated. That is trafficking, okay? I don't care which way you try to flop it, bop it, twist it, pull it, like the game Bop It, pull it, twist it. Like, I don't care. That is wrong. It's not right. And I don't need to lose my life over this. And yes, I have a will to live. And yes, I'm kind. And yes, I'm sweet. But I also am very tenacious. I'm extremely ambitious. And I miss my life. And I grieve it. I mourn it. Because of another person's actions against me. And now I have to start from scratch. And every single time I take 10 steps forward, right? I make progress and I get an interview for a job, or I gain some weight. Like right now I was 100 pounds and I went down to 96 because I had to fast for 2 days because I don't have any money. I'm in poverty, and I don't mind disclosing that. It's life. This is life. It's messy, it's hard, it's chaotic, but it's life. And I put myself and I tell myself, okay, God never guaranteed it was going to be easy, because the forces of evil are very strong, because we have good and we have evil. And there's a sense of disequilibrium in the force. If you watch Star Wars, like there's an imbalance in the force, because I feel like whoever these people are that are trying to supersede and stifle my destiny and my light, they are doing a hell of a good job. It feels like gangs, to be honest. It feels like criminals. It feels like cartel people. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like there's an element of dishonesty with, like, you know, when I was in Indiana and I was taking down my little vinyl decal thingies for Halloween, because I like to decorate for every holiday, and these little, what stuck out to me was there's one little like vinyl decal that it had a lollipop in its hand, and it had little candies, like the little stars around it. It was very cute. I don't like to do, when I do Halloween, and I've been lately like telling myself, do I really want to celebrate Halloween with the scary things and the mummies? And I'm like, I don't know, that's not my thing. I do like Mickey's, you know how they do in Disney World, Mickey's Not So Scary Christmas? It's like that for me. And I don't do like this super gory horror things. I do like, you know, cutesy, like Mickey wearing like a, you know, like a pumpkin, you know. But anyways, the decals that I had, I ended up throwing them away because I was like, I don't want this stuff. It was a little too ominous for me. But it had little, it had a lollipop, and I thought to myself, oh, candy. Candy is another word for drugs, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what in the underground world. And so something told me candy. I'm like, maybe there is drug related. So I go, that would make sense to some extent, because you don't know who, when this all started, I don't know who the guy that this all started with, I don't know who he's associated with, or he knows. So, you know, you never know what people are into and what they do. So, all I know is that I'm trying to do the right thing, and I don't need to get backlash from credit card companies for using my credit line. But this is an emergency at this point, because I'm not safe here. I'm not safe in Chicago. I really am not. And please, you know, to the Chicagoans, I don't know what you guys are called. I'm not going to generalize my experience to all of Chicago, because that would be ignorant and foolish of me. There are people here who are, you know, marketing executives, lawyers, accountants, doctors, surgeons, nurses, teachers, technicians, software developers, and they're living a grand old time. I see ads all the time. Come over here, hang out with us in this club, go to this rooftop bar, go check out hopscotch or whatever, you know, whatever it's called, Hubbard Inn or whatever. It looks very vibrant, like a city. But it may not be the right fit for me. And I told my parents this over and over again. I go, what's good for you may not be good for me. And I get that, you know, what you say goes, because you're the one that holds, you know, the finance, you know, the keeper of the keys, so to speak. But I also should have a say in the matter. I should not be neglected and say, now it's because I'm, you know, whoever, you know, helping me financially, I have to acquiesce to that and be compliant with that. That's not really fair to me. I wouldn't hold that over my child's head. If I'd say, okay, let's work together. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? How do you see this playing out? You know, that's what I would do if I was a mom. And I'd go, well, whatever you do to feel safe, I'll be here for you. And I can help you as much as I can. But here's the thing. Those people that help targeted people, usually more often than not, they get targeted too. So, I'm going to leave it at that. I will say I am kind of scared to get in a car because I've had really bad experiences in cars where I've experienced, I think, like pesticides and, you know, bad stuff. So, anyways, I am going to, I don't know, I'm going to figure out my next course of action, my game plan, because I don't know really what to do and I want to follow the rules, but this is an emergency at this point because I don't feel safe living in this building, or Chicago for that matter. And for anyone that's following along and you're like, oh my God, this is like a telenovela, where's she gonna go, what is she gonna do? I encourage you, please don't be a bystander. If you see crime happening within your precinct, if you're a police officer or whatever, I encourage you to report it, do something about it. Because sitting back and staying idle and not doing anything about it is not going to do anybody any good. Because here's the thing, folks, it'll